It's true, bamboo bedding is dreamy to sleep on. That's why Quince aptly named their Bamboo Dream Quilt Set. Coming in 12 colors, you're absolutely going to love this quilt and 2 shams set. Starting at the softest of pinks and going all the way to a dark navy. It's going to be perfect for anyone's room. Your own, your guest rooms, your kids' rooms, maybe even back to the dorm bedding. Quince has everything you need to elevate your space, from bedding to soft organic towels, airy curtains, and premium kitchen tools designed for everyday use. And of course, as you know, Quince has gorgeous cashmere and other wardrobe essentials. And the best part, Quince's products are half the cost of similar brands. They partner with top artisans and cut out the cost of the middleman, passing the savings on to us. Thank you, Quince. And they only work with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, so you can feel good about your purchases from Quince. Elevate your space with home essentials from Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT. Anita and I are taking a little break to enjoy family, friends, and travel. And we hope you're doing the same. And that you'll take us with you on your trip to the beach, in the garden, or just chilling with a cool drink. We'll be back soon. Until then, remember, we are here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Let's get started with today's episode.
Is less really more? Hi, this is Anita Joyce here with Kelly Wilkness, and this is Decorating Tips and Tricks. And today's episode is More Style, Less Stuff. And I do love this topic, Kelly, and I think we've been dancing around it for quite a while, but I think it's time for us to come out and be very clear about our thoughts about how to do this and what we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm really surprised in all the episodes that we've done, we've really never focused and honed in on this exact concept. So I'm really excited to share this and our thoughts about this with everyone today. We definitely talk about it, and we talk about getting rid of stuff and where you can put stuff, but I don't think we've approached it from this angle. And it's so true. You don't need a lot to have wonderful, impactful style.
Right. And this episode is not about decluttering. It's not about downsizing. Those are kind of ancillary topics, but it's really kind of how you can have great style, but it doesn't really require a lot of stuff.
Yes. And I'll add in, it's not about how to achieve a minimalist style or look. That's a whole different thing.
No.
This is a lifestyle. This is an approach. This is an attitude. Mm-hmm. This is a way to get more with less.
Let's start with, I think, where a lot of people are. And I think we just talked with a client who was there who has fabulous, fabulous style, fabulous ideas, amazing house, but was overwhelmed with so many choices and trying to add so much in the space. And I think that's what a lot of people have going on. They have all these ideas, all this stuff, and they're trying to make it all work. It's very overwhelming, and it's not working because it's probably just, well, for one thing, it's too much.
Yeah, it's too much. If you have too much, stop it. That's where we're at today. So, yeah, it's definitely clear that more stuff will not transform your space and give it more style. You just can't keep adding more on. It's not the way to develop a look. It's not the way to achieve a real stylistic decorator pro type home like all of you either have or want or in your process of getting. Whatever your look or style is, you want to achieve it with less of all that stuff. And by doing that, you can really ramp up the style element.
Yes, and I think what you said is so true. Oh gosh, what was that you said? Sorry.
Gosh, I'm so brilliant. Let me think. What did I say? Hey, we're recording it. We'll be able to play it back later and we can see what I said. Is it about being true to yourself?
Oh, I know what it was. This is so true. I think sometimes people look at their house and it doesn't look quite right. And the solution seems to be that everyone takes, you know what the solution is? Add more stuff. And you know what? Usually that's not the solution. So I know how we get here, where it's just a lot of stuff thrown into the house. I think another thing that happens is there's a $20 item. We see it at Target. It's cute. It's on trend. It's kind of interesting. But guess what? It's 50% off. And who can walk away from that 50% off, on trend thing at Target? So you buy it, and then you buy another one, and then you buy another one. And guess what? You've spent $100 without thinking. You've bought 5 things that you kind of like, but you really bought it because they were 50% off. So they're kind of interesting. They're in your house. They're cluttering your house, dare I say. And then after a year or two, you're kind of like, you know what? I don't really like them anymore. Out they go. And you're out $100. Whereas you could have just found this one thing that spoke to you, that you loved, that it was something that you collect, something that has meaning for you, something that you adore. You spend the $100, you get the one thing instead of 5, so it doesn't feel like as good a deal, and maybe you paid full price. But this is something that is meaningful to you, that adds brilliance to the space, and that you're going to keep 20, 30 years down the road.
I think there are 3 key elements, if you will, to achieve the fabulous style with less stuff. One is organization. That's pretty self-explanatory. We've talked about organization before. People go crazy when we talk about organization. I know they love it. There's all these blogs that are dedicated to organization. So obviously people want that help, need that help, have it on their mind, but you all know what it is. We don't need to go deep into what organization is because it's particular to each person, but obviously everything needs a place. There's a place for everything, all of that. If you have piles of stuff everywhere, it's impossible to have style in your home. So you got to get rid of that stuff. And if it's stuff you need, then you find a filing cabinet for it. Or if it's extra linens, then you find a place for it. But you can certainly organize and purge and pare down. So that's my number 1 key element. The second is curation. You need to selectively edit. You can't, as Anita was just saying, keep going through the Target aisle or keep popping into Home Goods or even great vintage pieces. Sometimes there's just too much of it, and maybe you're displaying too much of it. So curate it. Get rid of the stuff that was, on trend for a year or 6 months, or, you bought for 50 or 75% off and you never really liked in the first place. Get rid of that stuff. Pare it down to what you really love. Selectively edit even your collections and maybe rotate them out. There's a great quote that I'm sure you've all heard. Maybe you don't know who said it, but it's William Morris, who was in the 1800s. He was an English textile designer, and he said, there should be nothing in your house that you do not know to be useful or believe to be beautiful. Now, I think that really aids in activating this curation. If you keep that running through your head, I think it's better than the joy that everybody was talking about for the last couple of years, because a potato peeler doesn't necessarily bring you joy unless you really have this Zen moment when you're peeling potatoes. But you need a potato peeler. You don't need 3, but you need 1. So pick the good one and keep that one. So I like that quote better than this spark joy, because stuff like potato peels don't spark joy generally. The third thing is kind of maybe where the magic comes in, the authenticity. So everything in your home should speak to you on some level. Everything doesn't have to be handmade by your grandmother or something your kids made. It has to be authentic to you. Does that make you feel really good? Maybe the thing you got in the clearance aisle really speaks to you and has some meaning for you beyond the fact that it was a great price and it was fun to buy. That's okay to have things like that. Authenticity is things that speak to you, not things that speak to your favorite blogger, not things that speak to the person who handed it down to you, not things that speak to Anita and I either. It's what speaks to you. So again, my 3 keys to achieving great style with less stuff: organization, curation, and authenticity.
Wow. That's fantastic. I love all of those. And I think rather than constantly buying new stuff, because some people get bored easily. And so you feel like, I need a fix. I need a fix. I need to buy something. Well, you know what? Maybe you don't need to buy something. Maybe you just need to rotate things, or just buy one thing, add it to one room, and then you kind of play musical chairs where you're moving something from one room so that there's something new in each room. There's a lot of things you can do to kind of mix things up and add some excitement and add some freshness without going and buying new things. And I'm not saying don't buy things, but I'm just saying be very mindful about what you buy and just bring in stuff that does really speak to you, that is your style, that is meaningful to you. Like you said, I think you really do want to kind of focus on your life, how you live your life, your family, what you love. And to me, it's kind of like the French live. They don't really decorate their homes. Now, I do like a decorated house, but I think it's kind of about surrounding yourself more with the things you love than focused on this perfect decorating scheme. I always think of when John F. Kennedy Jr. was speaking about his mom after she passed away, and he said she was surrounded by the things she loved. She was surrounded by her books. It sounded so sweet to me that she had these things that she really loved so much, and the people that she loved that were near to her. And I'm thinking, I will take that any day over everything that's just perfectly decorated in a room. I want the things that are meaningful to me. So focus on, like you said, buy it because you love it. Don't buy it because it's on sale. Don't buy it because it's the latest thing. Fewer high-quality things rather than a lot of so-so things. So it's not really about the money, but it's just really about things that really speak to you. So I think also I want to say a house overflowing with stuff, even if it's all good stuff, that's stressful.
Oh, yeah.
It's keeping the beautiful pieces and getting rid of the rest. It kind of reminds me when we moved into this house, I got rid of so many things because even though the houses were the same size, this one is an open concept and I hardly had any wall space. And because it's open concept, you just can't put as much furniture in because you don't have as many walls. I really enjoyed kind of saying, these are my favorite things, and these are the things I don't really care that much about. And those are the things I'm going to get rid of. And so it's kind of nice to go through your house every now and then and pull out those favorite things and get rid of the stuff that you're not really so crazy about.
Yeah, I want to touch on a few things that you said, which I think are key points. Anita is famous for taking pieces from one room and making them work in another room in her home. And I do the same. And we have talked to you all about having a limited color palette and having things of quality, being able to do this, rotate something out and getting that fun, quick fix. You can completely change a room by even just adding a chair or switching out a chair from a different room, or taking a piece of art and moving it, taking a mirror and moving it, even just switching pillows around. So if you follow the idea of a limited color palette as well, that is going to open up all the possibilities to you of kind of taking all your, if you will, sort of all your pieces, everything that you have here in your house, and sort of just shifting them around to creating new feelings, new vibes, new perspective in each room, rather than going and adding something in. And another thing I wanted to touch on that Anita mentioned, I think you used the word constant. So I'm thinking along those lines, continuous. And I'm thinking continuous curation. Mm-hmm. It isn't something that just stops. You don't just decorate a room and stop, right? And so you certainly don't just overfill a room and then just stop and have it sit like that forever, or worse yet, keep filling it. You need to be continually curating. And I know that both of us do that. And everybody knows what that great feeling is. It's to have a bunch of things in your trunk that are going to Goodwill or going to a friend who could really use them or really appreciate them, and giving it new life. What is it about that feels so good? Well, sure, maybe it's the altruistic feeling of giving or sharing or something like that. But I think really what is the overarching good feeling is that it's out of your house, right? You didn't really like it, no. And it was there, and so now it's gone. And that feels really good. Now, don't get the next feeling, which is now I got to run to Home Goods and fill it up. No. Get rid of it. See how it feels as is. You don't have to have things covering every surface. I want you to look at all the things in your house, and you can do this. You could do it while you're listening. Look at each thing. And, it might not take long because you might be thinking love, 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 super love, really love. Oh, we couldn't live without it. But you might get to some pieces where you're like, wah, wah. And those are the pieces you want to say, why is this even here? And think, is it here because it inspires me and makes me feel good? Or is it here because of inertia? Has it just been here? And I just see it or don't see it. Because sometimes you don't even see it when something's been there for so long. So look with a really keen eye at everything in your house. I did this in getting ready for this episode, and it was pretty eye-opening, excuse the pun. I really literally looked at every single thing that I had displayed. I didn't go in the cabinets, and I didn't go in the basement or the attic. I said, but the things that were displayed, and I looked at every single thing, and I thought to myself, well, why is that here? Is it inspiring me? Is it inertia that left it there? And what do I want to do about it?
Don't buy something just because there's an empty space on your countertop or on a piece of furniture. Let it rest. Live with that. Maybe it doesn't need anything, or maybe you can just move something you already have to that space. I would just cut out that knee-jerk reaction to go buy. Just sit back and try some things and just kind of think it through. We're really, it's almost like the difference between someone who's just shoving food in their mouth versus someone who carefully selects everything and tastes it and savors it.
I love that analogy. That is really good. We're going to come right back in a few more minutes, and we're going to talk about more of this concept, and we're going to tell you what we may have found in our homes that was time to move on. Hey, we'll be right back with the rest of the show, but keep listening so we can continue bringing you DTT. So have you tried Dupe yet? If you haven't, come on, dupe.com. It is going to be your new shopping best friend. And it's not just for furniture. I know I've shared with you about my coffee table dupe, but you can save money with Dupe on fashion, shoes, jewelry, and more. I just used Dupe to find an absolute perfect twin of this t-shirt that I wanted. It was an $80 t-shirt. I was not going to pay $80 for a t-shirt. Dupe helped me find the twin, like maybe the exact same shirt. Find something you love, and then you can find replicas, twins, and maybe the exact thing for so much less. Give Dupe a try today. It is really so easy to use. You just type dupe.com / before any product URL in your browser, and voila, it instantly finds you less expensive alternatives. They even have an app and a browser extension you can download. No account is required. No sign up is required. It is completely free. I know, can you believe it? But it is completely free to use. Stop wasting money on brand names and start saving with dupe.com today. I loved Anita's food analogy, and I do try to eat slower and savor everything. So why shouldn't you be doing that with your decor as well?
Exactly. So steer clear of those trends unless they're speaking to you. Need the things you love. I think so many times we buy something because it's the right color. I'm so guilty of this. Oh, it's the right color. Need something for this room. I mean, when I didn't have a lot of stuff, this is what I did. And that stuff is all gone now. That was a mistake. If I had waited till it was something I really loved, and guess what? Maybe even the wrong color, I'd probably still have that item to this day. So I think those are all important. And so, your style and your happiness with your home really isn't about throwing a lot of random stuff in your house. I think it's about being more mindful about your life and about how you're reflecting your life in your home, how you're reflecting your style, and kind of thinking it through. I mean, I think another thing is sometimes we love about 15 different styles and we're trying to make them all work in our home. Well, you might be able to pull that off, but you might not. So I think that's something to think about. And usually people can look at their home and tell you whether it's working or not. The harder step is to figure out what you need to do to fix it. But if you know you have a lot of different styles, if it feels like it's not working, then try to pull some of those things out. And I mean, that would be the first step, I would say. If you feel like your house doesn't look right, try pulling some things out first before you do anything else, before you go buy something to fix it.
And I love what you've talked about in the past is embracing the empty space. So maybe you want to talk a little bit about that now, because I think it's really appropriate when talking about this whole concept of having fabulous style with less stuff, because people sometimes are afraid of the empty spaces, just like people are afraid of conversation not constantly talking. You don't have to fill the void all the time.
That's so true. And I think that is, again, a knee-jerk reaction. And I think someone who's just starting out feels like, oh, everything's got to be covered. I need to have everything, every place. But you know what? It's okay to have a dresser with maybe just a lamp on it, or just, a lamp and maybe one or two other things. It doesn't need to be all covered. And, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're a minimalist. I just think that the tendency is to go too much. So I would pull some things out and then see if it looks better. Now, when you first do this, if you're not used to it, it's going to feel bare, it's going to feel empty, and you're going to want so bad to put something in that space. But just live with it for a few weeks and see if you don't like it better. But yeah, there are empty spaces, and you have to develop a comfort level with these empty spaces. But this is a part of good design. You've got to have some places to let your eye rest.
Exactly. So don't think about it as empty or void or nothing. That space is adding to the overall style. It's integral to having a great looking home, having great style. Is to exactly what Anita said, leaving that little pause, just that little break, because you can't appreciate so many items. It's just overwhelmed. Your eye and your mind just can't take it all in. So then it's just kind of, everything becomes sort of blurry, and the style does not leap out at you. It's just, there's just too much. So I in my own home, if you're sitting in the dining room, and if you're familiar with my setup, I have that love seat in my dining room, which if you sat on it, you'd be looking towards the living room. And so there's an opening to the living room. On one side, there's wall space. On the other side, there's wall space. Now, I have debated so many times sitting there, probably my family thinks like, what is she doing? Like staring off into space. But I have a wonderful vintage map of Pasadena that the prior owner had left for me. And it's wonderful and it's authentic. And he put a little, like a little red star, like you would get years and years and years ago, maybe on your report card or your homework from a teacher. He put one of those little stars where our house is on it. So it's so special, and it's in a big old vintage frame. And I kept thinking, I need something on that other side. It just looks a little bare. But I couldn't figure out what to put there, what would complement it. And one day it just dawned on me, no, that's the space in this room where it should have nothing. I don't need to be nailing plates on the wall. I don't need to find another map. I don't need to do anything like that. So on the floor there, I have a nice size plant, but it's not filling the whole space, but it just kind of softens the edges of the furniture, and that is enough. And so that is an example in my home where I really was like, okay, I'm jonesing to put something there. I got to find something. And after much deliberation, I decided, no, that's where it needs to rest. There's enough going on. There's bay windows. I've got some other stuff. I've got the chandelier. There's enough going on in that room. There needs to be a space where it's just quiet.
Yes. And, you can try this with furniture too. And what I like to do is, if I think a room's too crowded, but I'm really nervous about maybe getting rid of a piece of furniture, is I pull it out, put it in the garage or put it in the hallway, or some room that's not being used that much. Just set it aside while you think about it. But you can't just pull it out and look at it in 5 minutes and decide, because it's going to look bare because your eye is used to seeing that piece of furniture there. You take it out and you live with it for at least a week, but don't get rid of it yet. So give yourself time, and then it's not going to feel scary if you give yourself a week or two to think about it. Then after a week or two, if you feel like, I like this room so much better without that piece, then you can go on and give it to somebody or sell it, or move it on somewhere. I mean, I think that's very helpful to know that it's reversible for at least a couple weeks while you're thinking about it. And when you're developing your style too, give yourself some time. Don't feel like you have to come up with your style to figure it out in a week or two or even a year. it's really something that evolves over time. And I think that you're going to end up with a beautiful style if you kind of let it marinate and let it, you're going to grow over time. And so as part of that, don't worry about filling up your house quickly, like we were saying. Like if you're newly starting out with a brand new house, don't feel like you have to fill up the entire house. I mean, what I did when we were first married was I just kind of focused on one room. And then when I got the living room, where I was pretty happy with it, then I moved on to our bedroom. And I just kind of did one room at a time because it's too overwhelming. All the rooms are going to not look right to you if you're doing them all at the same time. So just try to get one the way you like it and then move on to another room.
Oh, I like the way you flipped the whole topic because it's true. We started out with the whole approach where people are going to have too much stuff. But you're right. If someone's just starting out or they're moving to a new place and they decided they want a whole new look and they got rid of everything else, they don't have anything, they're starting in a new location or something like that, you may be starting from scratch. So yeah, I love that advice. Don't just run out and fill it all up. We've said that before. Style is not 2 shopping carts at Home Goods in one afternoon. That is not style.
Yeah.
It's very important to also understand that knowing what to let go is just as important as what you keep or add. So as Anita said, you're not sure, it's not an obvious, oh my gosh, I can't even believe I still have this thing, let's give it to Goodwill. If it's, something on your edge, kind of put it in a holding pattern, put it in purgatory for a little while and let it sit there until you really know. And you might think, oh, I didn't like that piece in that particular room, or it's not necessary in that room. But maybe you'll find another home for it within your own house, right? You could move it into another room.
Yeah, and I liked what you said, too, to kind of be developing your own style rather than trying to exactly copy someone else. I think it's great to be inspired by other people, and I certainly am all the time. But, you don't want it to be exactly like somebody else's unless you just like everything about it. I mean, so it's really kind of a developing your own style, getting that confidence and getting that connection with the things in your house so that, it really speaks to you. Let's talk about our crushes. Mine is for anyone who is a silver lover. And so I'm talking about someone who has silver jewelry or who collects any other kind of silver napkin rings, silver trays, silver teapots, silver forks, spoons, and knives, silver plate, or sterling. You're going to want this. It is a horsehair brush to clean your silver. And so, a toothbrush has plastic bristles, and that is going to scratch your silver. So you don't want to use that. But the horsehair is very gentle, and I'm sure no horses were harmed in the brushes for the horsehair.
Because they get it from the horse barber. Because the horse has a haircut.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, they can just trim their hair and get it.
This is not a glue factory. This is just a hair.
Exactly. So, but it's perfect for cleaning silver. So if you can use it to clean all that intricate detail. If the tarnish is very, very light, you can actually buff and polish it with the brush. Isn't that interesting?
Oh, so without a polish, just
without polish, if it's a very, very light tarnish. Mm-hmm. But if that doesn't work, you're going to have to get the polish out. But when you polish silver, how it leaves all that white and all the nooks and crannies?
I don't polish the silver.
Okay. Oh, my God.
I like the patina. But yes, if I was to do that, and probably if I was going to actually, use my set that I've had myself, I would probably polish that. My
I don't know
wedding
if you've ever seen silver somewhere that has the white. Let me put it that way.
I think I might have seen that some other places.
Well, that's the problem because you can't get the sponge or the cloth into all those crevices to clean out the dried polish. This brush is going to get all of that out and very gently and take care of your silver. And again, it works on jewelry as well.
And maybe I would like polishing silver. I have to say, I've never really done it. It could be like an active meditation, like sweeping or raking or something like that. It might be like Zen to do it.
Yes, it's relaxing, like ironing. I actually like it.
You like ironing, yes. So that might be for the same reason.
It's something messy that you make very neat and tidy, and in just a few minutes, you're done. It's not like cleaning a house.
Right. And then you've accomplished something, too. So that sort of checks all the boxes.
Exactly.
Okay.
So what's your crush?
Well, Anita, do you think we'll still be podcasting when we're each 87?
I think so, don't you?
Well, yeah, we'll be on episode 4,999. But Jane Goodall is 87, and she just started a podcast. So
Wow.
go, Jane. I don't know if you've heard of the Jane Goodall Hopecast. So, of course, everyone knows who Jane Goodall is. Scientist, activist, storyteller, icon, fabulous woman. Well, she was looking around and listening, and everybody is kind of feeling down and upset about climate change and what's happening to the pollinators and all the things that are going on in the globe. And she wanted to bring some hope and find stories and people who were doing things to make a difference and also who have real hope that we're going to turn this whole thing around. So she says, let's get curious, grow in compassion, take action, and build a better world for all together. It's a wonderful podcast, and just listening to her voice is very soothing. I had listened to her masterclass when we had that, when Peter had got me the subscription to masterclass, and it was so enjoyable. And I would have to say, I would listen to Jane sometimes when I wanted to snooze because she's just very relaxing to hear her voice. But the podcast is wonderful. It's her, and then she has these fantastic interviews. She interviewed Dave Matthews from the Dave Matthews Band not too long ago. Apparently, he's doing all kinds of amazing things with animals.
Interesting.
And, Nave Crosby, like all these people. And then this young girl, I think she's maybe 13 or something, and she's all about having a plant-based diet, and she's talking with Jane, and just all these things that people are doing that are bringing hope, bringing change, and I highly recommend it for anybody who is interested in Jane Goodall or Planet Earth. I'd tune in.
That sounds wonderful. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, it's a good one. I think she's only got about 13 episodes, but she's got so many years ahead of her. Who knows how much she might have as many as we do soon.
Probably.
So it was so much fun. I love talking about this whole concept because I think it is so important on so many levels. But yeah, if you can get less stuff and more style, more power to you. So thanks so much for hanging out with us today. And remember, we are here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time. Want to talk to us? Well, we really want to talk to you. So let's schedule a design consult. Anita and I are here to give you individualized, actionable advice on how to create the beautiful home you want and deserve. It's so easy to schedule a design consult with us. Simply click the link in the show notes or head to decoratingtipsandtricks.com/consult. When we talk to you on the scheduled time, we will be ready with so many great tips, advice, and yes, tricks. So sign up today for a design consult. We can't wait to talk to you.